Hi, everybody. My name is Colin Wilcox with Extraordinary Concepts, and we like to put extra in front of ordinary to be extraordinary. That's how you spell it. So today I've got quite a few things to go over, and we're going to be going over my seminar, the second section of my seminar, which is ads, and we'll take a look at that. And I'm going to actually give you some tiles, some slides up there right now. But like I said, we're going to go over all kinds of stuff, and it's the digital world, where it's at, how people have been changed, and so on. So let's get right into it so you don't waste much time. And I hope you enjoy this video. So so here I am. Like I was saying, I'm Colin Wilcox with Extraordinary Concepts. And this is ads, which is AI digital strategies. We're going to be talking about strategies for the restaurant and hospitality industry. And in order to make a strategy, it's very important for you to actually know why you're strategizing the way you're doing, and like what kind of customers we actually have today. And it's quite shocking. So we'll get into that a little bit. So today we're going to be going over, we have lost control and how we have lost control, and your existing strategy. We're going to be talking about that. Why is social media so challenging? Why haven't we adapted at all? I mean, our business hasn't changed. Our business model is the same for a long time. Your AI digital strategy. We'll talk about an AI digital strategy you can do. How to get 1,000+ return on investment. I know that sounds shocking, but it is real and it's possible. And hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. And let me show you some examples. So I'll show you some examples of how we can do this digital hospitality and this new world we're in. So the digital world looks just like this. It's kind of crazy. The actual circle on your left in the red is the digital world, what most people's eyeballs are, and most people are. And then we got the analog world, which is us on the right-hand side, and they are separated. And we want people to come into our analog world. So, what is your strategy? I ask you, what is your strategy? You got to be starting to think about it. AI, we just, on our first part of the seminar, we talked about AI, which is artificial intelligence, and also applying innovation. That's what I'm a master at, is applying innovation. I've been doing it all my life. And we're going to get into some of the innovations in this section. So this is us. So us as restaurant people, we just walking through our restaurant, and every time we walk through our restaurant, we see empty tables. It goes on the top of our mind is like, man, I just like to fill the tables. So how do we do that? Before the digital world came, which I was a big part of it back in the day, there was no digital. It was just yellow pages, radios, and a newspaper. And then there was a gap in between. But all the social media, all the socializing was done inside the yellow circle. So that's where social media was. We'd sit there and we'd talk about our neighbors. We'd talk about things. We'd talk about like Friends or MASH or way back in the day. What was on the TV, and only us saw that, and we'd have to actually go home and watch the show, because if we missed it at 5 o'clock, we missed it. We'd have to go meet our friends at the restaurant and bar and ask what happened at Friends, and whatever kind of stuff. So, so that's the analog world. That's the world we live in. That's the world we love, and that's the world that needs to actually grow. So we've lost control. Well, yes, we have lost control, and this is how we have. Let's take a look at it. So how did it happen? How did we lose control? That's right, people. This gentleman right here, Stephen Jobs, has changed the world. Times have changed, and that device right in his hand is what has done it. Communication has changed. Mark Zuckerberg has changed communication. Facebook does 1.7 million posts per minute. That's just Facebook, not all the other ones. Communication has changed. Viewing has changed. 500 billion daily views on YouTube. That's some crazy stuff. Celebrities have changed, Tom Hanks, remember that? Tom Hanks actually, he's quite a celebrity, but maybe Tom Cruise. But this guy right here has got 383 million subscribers. Mr. Beast. I'm not sure if the older people know who Mr. Beast is, but I'm sure the younger people certainly do. Attention has changed. This is a shocker to me. Attention has decreased by 3,300% since that device has been brought into our lives. 3,300% attention has changed. That's incredible. Eating has changed. The eating habits have changed. People aren't going out as much. You just, you make a call and here it comes, DoorDash. Drinking, yes, drinking has changed as well. So they're not drinking as much. They're doing gummies, or they're doing, sober October or dry January. That's all can affect our business for sure. So that's a challenge. Sleeping has changed. Just the way people are sleeping. They fall asleep right there with their device right in their hands. The only thing that actually beats out screen time, which is our next time screen time has changed, is actually sleep. And that's kind of catching up. So the only thing we do more than screen time is sleeping. And that's right. Screen time is right on the heels of that. And then social skills. Social skills have changed. Just talking to some people, they kind of get all nervous when you start to talk to kids these days. And this is a big one too. This is a scary one, and it's getting scary and scarier. The truth has changed. We have no idea what the truth is. This is a AI generated image, and that is one scary image that it's not real. Looks cute. She is cute holding a dog. It's not real. Patience has changed. They don't need to. And we don't need to watch or listen to songs anymore. My kids I don't think they've ever heard a whole song. They just skip to the next one. Travel has changed. That's right. Well, actually, this is actually digital. So this car, you're going to jump in this thing, and it's basically a computer wrapped around your body, and it has all the data and all the information. It'll take you wherever you want to go, but you're driving a computer, or it's driving you rather. And then even the brick and mortars. So that's our homes. Our homes, and it's very important. Make sure that we continue to keep these brick and mortars going. But the brick and mortar business has changed. You got food trucks popping up all over the place. They might be right down the street, across the street from you. And, they're all using digital social media and all that to say, hey, this is where I'm at. Come see me. And, I'm paying rent. I don't just have a truck that I have to fill up with gas. I have to pay, mortgages and all that. So it's obvious people have changed. We are not the same person we were 20 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. Look at me. I'm actually talking to a microphone right now. 58 years old, and I'm doing a YouTube channel. I would never, ever in my entire life thought that was something I'd be doing. So because of this change, because of all the things we just talked about, this is the reality we're in right now. This change right here, 90% of the customers. So 90% of the customers are going to go through that door. I call it the digital door before they go into your door. And that's a fact, folks. They're going to be sitting in front of in your parking lot, right in front of your restaurant, and right before they go into your restaurant, they're going to open up their phone. They're going to take a look at your menu, maybe take a look at any kind of digital landscape or you might have, and they're going to make a decision based on that phone before they actually go in. On the AI, when I did the AI seminar, the first part of it, you'll see how agents are going to be taking over that. So we've already addressed this in the first seminar, but 90% of the customers are going to go through that door first. So you got to pay attention to it, and you don't have any control of that, the space in there. So again, with these little agents, they're going to be taking control of that digital door before they get into your door. And then, if all things go well, then they can proceed into your door, which is our analog door, which is our spaces, where we make money. We don't make any money, people, until we actually have transactions. Here's a burger, give me some money. Here's a drink, give me some money. We have no money until they actually go through that yellow door and stay into it. So the main process, that I'm going to be talking about is also retaining customers. You want to keep them in there. Those 4 walls are very powerful, very valuable walls in there. That's where you want to be doing some of your thought process. So again, let's get back into it. Excuse me while there's a lot of talking. So again, as we go through these slides, again, this is gonna come up often. This is our thing. This is where we get anxiety when we're in a restaurant and we're looking at tables. We're entering tables like, where are our customers? I want to get my full restaurant, so I want people in my seats. That's all we want to do. So let's talk about the existing strategy. Now, this is your existing strategy, I can imagine, and I'm pretty sure I'm on point with this. And this is most hospitality and restaurant existing strategies. So let's kind of go through this and the challenges we have with existing strategies. And that's really just trying to get eyeballs on customers, telling them what we want, what we're doing and promotions, and just kind of, branding ourselves in it. This is we're restaurant people. So unless you hire out a marketing company, which can be very expensive, we're restaurant people, So handing this off to a waitress, handing it off to, I don't know, the hostess or somebody that's really good at, Instagram, that's not necessarily the best thing, but this is 20 to 40 hours a week. They got to sit there and spend on this marketing, this whole digital world that we're talking about. And this is sort of, kind of a shocking thing to me as well. Not terribly shocking, but somewhat. So you'll see this circle. In this circle, we're a geographical business. So a geographical business means that 95% of our business is within a 5 to 10 mile radius. That's it. So 95% of the customers that we have are within a 5 to 10 mile radius. And then the remaining customers are outside of that radius. So that's a geographical business. But our strategy, or the strategies of all people, all this industry is doing a non-geographical approach. The non-geographical approach, which is a non-geographical business, which could be e-commerce or anything like that, 95% of their business is outside of a 5 to 10 mile radius. So if you hear that, that means that we're really, we're doing a wrong approach to actually target. We want to take care of that circle. We're going to talk about that circle a lot. We're going to talk about the analog circle in that circle right there. So that's the focus. We got to focus on that circle. So currently, when we do social media and just send it out, only 5% actually see our posts that we do. We work a lot at it. We do videos, we do all kinds of things. Only 5% actually can see that post. And out of that 5%, only 5% of that actually converts into a sale. So a lot of work, very little conversion. So here we are, this is all all a part of our strategy, so social media. So we're like, where are our customers? Where are they? And how do I get in front of them? And what do I do? So are they on Facebook, X, Instagram? They're on, WhatsApp, YouTube, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. We're just in our brain going like, where the hell are these customers and how do I get in front of them? But now what do I do? Do I do videos, reels, food photos, drink photos, hashtags, SEOs, likes, comments, rewards, all the things? Like, what do I do? I don't know. And I don't even think the marketers know, but I know that you're paying them to pretend they know. So, but I know, for a fact that some of these things are still going to equal 5% conversion rate. So websites, very important, websites, people want to find your stuff, but, what do we do there? SEOs, calendars, events, updates, menus, they got to search our website. We got to be up there. We got to be but what's happening here is also AI is going to also determine how that is all working, the websites. And then we got emails, hey, we can do emails, all part of our approach and our strategy. So typically a lot of people actually emails can be effective, if you do it right, if you're, customizing them and sending them at the right time, at the right person, but essentially people are bulk emailing or doing things like that, or if they're not bulk emailing and they are doing strategic emailing, AI is going to sort of mess that all up as well, because AI is going to be able to, I think Google's already starting to implement this, is going to be able to sort of sort things for you and just give you what you actually want to see. And I don't know if you want to see what loyalty people are doing, but email's challenging. And then you get your A-frames. Everybody puts those bad boys out, and you got to design them, you got to print them, you install them, you got to replace them and repeat. But customers aren't doing, they're just walking on by. Remember, their attention span is 3,300% less than they were 20 years ago, 3,300% less. They have no attention span whatsoever. Excuse me. Flyers, I call this dirty wall art. So we can put all the flyers up, but we won't put them in the bathrooms. We'll stick them on the walls. We'll do it all that kind of stuff. But you got to design them. You got to print them. You got to hang them. You got to replace them and repeat. And nobody's reading those things. They're not looking at them at all. Oh, you got your table tents, or I call it table clutter. Same thing. We got to design them. We got to print them. We got to place them. We got to lose them. And then we replace them. And then we repeat. All this kind of stuff is table clutter. So this is our current strategy, or, which is a big one, excuse me, we can ask our staff, hey, staff, make sure you're telling the customers what's going on. We've got Third Left coming this Saturday night. Make sure they all know about it. Like, yeah, sure. We'll make sure we're on top of that. That's never the case. I've had staff all my life, and sometimes they do it, but 99% of the time they don't. They think, I need a shift drink. This guy's here. He's bored. And these two couples at the bar are just like, wondering what kind of promotions they got going on. So do you even get, are you even getting their eyeballs is my question. Are you getting your customers' eyeballs with your strategy? Because that's your main objective, is to sort of tell, when you're doing all these social media things, is just be branded so they can sort of see you and, and know your brand and know who you are and what you're all about. But ideally also to say, hey, customers, come on in, we're doing this thing tonight and I'd love to see you and get you through my analog door and have you hang out. So this is what happens, and this is sort of the psyche. It's happened to me many, many times, and it's still sort of happening. But when we post on social media, we get a drink and make a special drink. It looks beautiful, or a burger. It looks beautiful. We sit down, we squat, we get a close up, we take a nice picture of it. We add some frills to it, maybe add some, I don't know, throw some cranberries on the table and take a picture of that stuff. So this is what we think is happening in social media. And then we post it. We're like, yeah, everybody. We like send it out to the world, and this whole world is looking at our beautiful burger and check this out. Look at that, guys. We feel good. Yep, we posted, did our social media post right now. That's right. We're good. Let's go do our other stuff because we've already done our post and it looked awesome. Everybody's going to talk about it. This is the actual, this is actually what's happening. Nobody saw it. And this guy right over here is he likes it. So he converted, like, hey, I saw your burger. I'm like, oh, that's great. Thanks. So the conversion rates are very low. And again, I'm not going to say don't do this. This is very important for you to stay in the digital world, especially with artificial intelligence. You need to have a digital presence. But my thing is we're going to talk about that red circle, the geographical circle that we're involved and we're in. So this is other things, hey, what you got to be is don't be a restaurateur. You got to be a content creator. That's how you get busy. Don't worry about nice food and good service and all that. You need to be a content creator. Yep, that's right. You need also to be a script writer. You got to make some great scripts and write that stuff out, Use AI to make some good scripts, and then, oh, don't forget, you got to do some really good graphics. You got to be a content creator. You got to be a script writer. You got to be a graphic designer. And this is you, yes. And this is me just talking about it, Restaurant people, they just want to run a restaurant, so it's very anxious. I'm like, man, why can't I run a restaurant, Why do I have to do all this stuff? Why are all the eyeballs on me and saying, hey, where's your content? Let's see. Why is this so challenging? Let's see why it's so challenging for the customer. Excuse me. I love coffee. I don't know if anybody else likes coffee, but I sure do love coffee. So why is it so challenging? We do all this kind of stuff. Why is it a 5% conversion rate on this? So let's take a look. Well, yes, people have changed, and we've already discussed that. You see all these little squares with all this stuff. People have changed. The world has changed, folks. They're not the same people, and we can't assume it. And let's see, let's see what kind of experience is in this red door. We haven't gone through the digital door. Let's sort of see what's on the other side. That's right. That's on the other side. Everybody in the entire world is competing for her eyeballs. And who's actually winning? The big tech companies. They just want, they say if it's free, it's for me. If it's free, you're the product. So she opens up her phone, and this is what's going on in that phone. It's like, oh my God, there's all this kind of stuff, and everybody wants her attention. And then there's the follows, oh, hey, I got 1,000 follows. I got all these followers on my restaurant. Everybody loves me. Look at all these people that are following me. But when I say, you don't have control and the big companies have control, they change the algorithm. So follows don't even matter anymore. They follow the eyeballs. All they want you to do is to be on that device as long as humanly possible so they can pay, get advertising and marketing on that. So in order to do that, they follow your eyeballs. So you might be looking at something, actually physically looking at something, even tracking your eyes and where they're going. My daughter used, she uploaded a program on her phone, and it was just tracking her eyes. So now she can use her eyes to pick things. I'm like, well, why did you just do that? So it's actually tracking the motion of your eyes and where you're looking at. You might not even pick it, but you can look at it, and that's what they want. They want your eyeballs, and they're figuring out all kinds of ways to get them. And then you get all the restaurants. Every restaurant in the world is going to be competing. So you're going to open your phone, and or the customers are going to open their phone, and they're going to see you, and then they're going to see the next restaurant, and the next restaurant, and the next restaurant. And some are doing TikTok videos, some are doing funny things. But I guarantee at the end of your little scrolling session, when you get off the scrolling session, if I was to ask you, so what restaurants did you see, or what did you see? I'm like, then you'd be like, I don't know, I don't remember. I'm like, so. And this is us, so that, hey, everybody, please pick me, come on, man. I did just all this content. Why can't you come to my restaurant? And this is them, so much. Please stop. Please stop. They got digital anxiety. That's an actual thing. Digital anxiety. Too many things going on. So wait, there's more, there is more. I was just anxious, just talking about it. I get anxious. So there is more. That's right. Don't forget these guys right here, the AI. So artificial intelligence is also in that digital world. And that thing is coming fast, man. It's here already, and it's coming like a steam engine. Actually, faster than that. It's probably like a rocket ship. So don't forget AI, the biggest disruptor of all time. This is the biggest disruptor of all time. And this poor little dog all wrapped up, and they're just kind of, peeling off this little gauze and all that stuff. Well, you feel bad. So, all the images feeding on emotions. These images right here feeding on emotion, and it's kind of manipulation. They want eyeballs. And if the big companies don't want eyeballs, you got the bad actors, they call them. They want eyeballs. So this dog is, it's artificially generated. That's not the case. It's fake. Just like my 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 diplomas were fake too. So again, here it is. But artificial intelligence, it works all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It can bang out stuff like flood the web, and that's what's happening. So right here, more eyeballs. So hundreds of videos, AI videos are just flooding the web, and people are like, oh my god, look at this and look at that, and that's terrible and that's sad. And then here we go, another one, effortlessly taking eyes. This thing here got like hundreds of thousands of 250,000 likes. So these people are all looking at these things. And even if they hate it, they're still looking at it. Some people will say, "Oh man, I hate AI," blah blah blah, making all these comments on it, but they're staying on on that area. And then what that means is there's just less eyeballs on you. So that's competition. No matter what, you're going for the eyeballs. And don't forget these. And then there's this. Ha ha ha. You got this lady right here screaming at you. The Karens, and I have nothing against Karens. I dated a Karen. I had a crush on a Karen at one point, but it's just, I don't know. Somebody named it Karen. When people, the complainants, they call them Karens. So I'm sorry if you're offended. I don't mean to offend you, but you got to get on this stuff. So reviews really do matter. You have to have, manage reviews. And if you saw in my first video about AI, where they're going to have the smart glasses. So those smart glasses, like I was saying in that video, is that you're just going to be able to look at the food and you'll just talk to your glass and say, "Hey, take a picture of this and post it on Instagram and give them a 4-star review. And this is why." So they're just going to talk to the actual food and talk to their glasses, and then just going to take a shot of that and do it. So that means reviews are going to be extremely important, and they're going to come fast. People will be doing 5 times more. Just the idea that they have the glasses. So we got to pay attention to this, Karens, and ideally you don't want any 1-star, 2, 3, 4s. You want all 5-star reviews, and it's important. All the work we try to do in this digital world, which they're forcing us into, kind of sometimes takes away what we can do in our restaurant. Oh, here we go. And so it's too much for the eyes. So too many CTAs, which is call to actions. When you have too many of those, you have no action. People just don't even know how to choose, and I'm sure everybody does that with Netflix. I know my wife does it. Sometimes I'll give her the remote control. Well, not sometimes. She'll just take the remote control from me most of the time. And then she'll just flip through it. She won't pick anything. So we'll sit there for half an hour, look at what we could watch rather than actually watching something. And so that's just, that's too many CTAs, call to actions. And when they have that, nobody actually acts. So this is ironically, this is the problem that we're sort of into right now. We're trapped. So you have to have a digital presence. All the things I just talked about, I wouldn't, and I can't say that you shouldn't do them. But we are going to focus on that circle that we were talking about as far as the geographical approach. And this is a non-geographical approach. It's important for you to have a digital presence. Important for you to be out there, for the AI agents and for customers that actually are searching for you. And if you don't do it, you will be out of business. So unfortunately, we have to stay in there. But our thing is to get conversions. We want actual people paying for our stuff. So they control the eyeballs, folks. If it's free, it's for me. So they are the product. We are the product. If we're looking at the device and things are free, they control our eyeballs, and they'll do everything in their powers to make sure that they maintain our eyeballs. And we don't want all of them. We just want some. We actually only want the eyeballs that are in that little circle of ours. So here it is. They control the world. They control the digital world. This whole little, this digital bunch. Man. So, and when I say they control it, they can change it whenever they want. They can change the algorithms and how it works. You have people that are on Google and they're talking about SEO and all this kind of search engine optimization. There's all these techniques because a company can say, "No, change it up here." I'm like, "Okay, guys, now there's no more SEO and we got to go to this." we're just following these guys. We're following what they do and trying to get, trying to get what they have, which is eyeballs. Here we are again, people. We walk through our restaurant every day, all the time, and when we walk past an empty table, there's no more. That's the most expensive seat is an empty seat. I've always said that in my career, and no matter what, if you're Friday night and you got three tables empty or open, you're just always looking at those tables and say, man, I wish I was full. You always want a full seat. So hopefully I can help you out with this and give you some good ideas on how to get those seats full. But that's where we're out. So there's not a single restaurant owner that doesn't walk by an empty table and go into their brain and their little subconscious says, I really wish that was full. Because I know when you're in a full restaurant, you feel great. You're all pumped up and you're like, oh yeah, man, I'm doing the right thing. So that's our problem. So why haven't we changed? That's a big question. So all these changes around us and we haven't changed. We haven't changed. I mean, I've been doing this for a long, long time and we haven't changed since the old Roadhouse days. So here we are, we have TVs, we have a digital device in our space, and that digital device, we've been watching the same channels, the same thing is on our TVs for 50 years. 50 years, people. Everything else around us has changed, but we haven't. We want to keep that same channels on our TVs for 50 years. And that's right. Every restaurant that you walk into, I'm going to say, well, I can say every, I'm going to say 90%, 95% of the restaurants, anybody that has a TV has the same channels on their TV. There's nothing unique about anything that's going on. And out of all those TVs that we are looking at, 85% of the time, I hope you listen to this, 85% of the time is just talking heads. And out of that talking heads, we got 15% left over. And out of that 15% left over, it's sports and other engaging content. So you might have, we're out here in Boston, so we have Celtics or Bruins or, in New England Patriots, any of that kind of stuff. That could be engaging content. Like, oh, okay, let's, we have a bar. We got to make sure we have sports on the TV. And guess what, folks? Out of all that, out of the 15% that is actually engaging, only 50% really give a shit about the sports. Not everybody in the world out there is not a sports fan. That's me included. I'm one of those sports fans that only, you're only a fan when they're doing great. I love the Patriots when they're doing great. I'd actually watch them and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I don't watch the Patriots anymore. Yeah, sorry, I'm one of those fans. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be, but that's the way I am. I'm busy brain. Okay, so yes, folks, they're just bright light fixtures. So next time you walk through your restaurant and you see talking heads, you actually just have a bright light fixture. It's not doing anything to your environment. It's just adding light and adding talking heads. That's what they are. These are opportunities right here, and we'll get into that later. Now that's an opportunity. So no one cares. So here's that chart. Mainstream media is dead. People have cut the cord. I think the only thing that's probably keeping mainstream media alive is sports. And I think the streaming companies are starting to try to figure out how they can tug some sports over there. They're doing some sporting events on Prime and different things like that. So I don't know if you can hear me, everybody, but all you restaurant owners out there, but everybody has cut the cord. That's right. Cut the cord. Mainstream media is dying. And that's it, but not us. We're not going to cut the cord. We're going to sit there and, we're going to hold it tight. I know this. This is going to be going on for another 10, 20 years. We're going to be doing the exact same thing. And, not us. Same old channels, same old TV, same old environment, same old stuff. We got karaoke, bingo, trivia, the same old shit for like the longest time. We need to innovate. We need to do AI, people. Apply innovation. We need to think better. We're bigger than that. We're better than that. We're smarter than that. It's really frustrating me how people just do the same old shit over and over and expect. I think that's insanity. When you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that's considered insanity. So I think we might be a little insane now. We need to kind of reinvent ourselves and come up with some creative shit. All right. Yep, that's right. We must change. I think I might have mentioned that. Hey, here we are again. We're walking through the restaurant. Same old shit. Got an old empty tables and full tables. We want the full tables. So how do we get these people? How do we get their eyeballs? I want to get their attention. I want to tell my customers in my little circle, my geographical circle, hey, come to me. I'm doing good things. I really work hard. I'm good. So how do we get our customers' eyeballs? There's some good ways. And we're going to talk about some strategies here because that's the name of this whole seminar. is AI digital strategies. So we're going to talk about that. And here we are again, the old days before digital media. There's these two circles, and most humans were in the yellow circle to the right, so that's where we were all out. Like I just said before, we hung out there, we talked about there, we socialized, and we watched TV together, the same old thing together. We watched sports and watched, MASH, like I was saying, to Friends or Seinfeld, and we talked about all that. So there was nothing really going on. There was no digital world out there at that time. Yellow pages, and everybody had to be in the yellow pages. So it's like the big thing you had to do. It's the radio, which was some big moves. We're going to go on the radio, try to get vendors to put us on the radio. They got us exciting. And newspapers, we never did anything there. But actually, back in the day, we did newspapers. We actually put it in the classifieds. And when we put it in the classifieds, actually, we got employees. I remember I'd have to have two managers on. Imagine this. Think about this. I had two managers on, and when I did a thing in the newspaper to actually interview, I'd have like lines of people coming in my restaurant that want to have jobs. It was just wonderful back then. So now we have this digital world, people. Here it is. Look at all that stuff on the left-hand side. So that's where the world is. That's where the eyeballs are. That's where the people are. But they all come to this little piece of glass, this little digital circle. Let me see if I can get a little highlighter right there. See that thing? That's where all the eyeballs are going. So they're all going there. And then we have glass on our side in our little analog space. We got a TV as well, but all the eyeballs are going on the screens. We already talked about screen time and how it's actually going to beat out sleeping relatively soon. So that's digital. That's an AI digital strategy right there, folks. Excuse me. That's thinking outside the box. That's kind of saying, okay, so I have a digital device in my space, which is our TVs, which is 85% of the time it's just a bright light fixture, and people that aren't here, they're over in their own space. They have a little screen themselves, that little cell phone that they look at. So we have two screens. And, we have two devices. So we know they look at devices, we know they're screens, and we know they like digital. But people on the digital world, we're separated. They're not with us. They're over there on the left-hand side, and they're just doing their thing, and they're getting overwhelmed and anxious in their digital world. And here we are in our nice little analog world over here, hoping for customers to come in, eat, dine, and sit with us. Boom. Let's pull them together. So here's some strategies, people. This is ads, which I like to call ads, which is an AI digital strategy. So we just suck them together now. And so now if I could actually use my digital device in my analog space, which is my TV, and then they have their digital device, which is their cell phone in their pocket, and I can pull them together and make them work together in sync. That would be something good, So if they have, if I have something on social media, they see it in my restaurant. If I have something on my restaurant, they see it on social media, and vice versa. All that kind of stuff, So now I can use that device, those TVs, as my communication, my eyeball seeker. So again, we call this ads, which is AI digital strategy. So the door on the left is the digital door. The door on the right is our analog door, and we want them to come together. We need to take the equipment we have, which is our digital devices, and they're devices. They're not TVs anymore, folks. They do all kinds of stuff. It's glass, and they can do all kinds of things. There's a lot of technology out there that can make those things do pretty much whatever you want. So don't look at them as TVs that only show old programming from 50 years ago. It's actually a device, a digital device that we can use it to, empower and inform, brand our customers, so on. So control their eyeballs. That's right. We want to control their eyeballs. And the people right here, they're right here in the restaurant. So we are the analog bunch, and the analog bunch has control of our analog world. So we can do whatever we need to do in our own little analog world. And AI cannot touch that. It can't damage it. It can't do anything while we're in our analog world. We can get rid of the TVs altogether. That's okay. But we still need to communicate to the customers about what we do and how we do it, and empower them and motivate them. And we know from our original strategy, our existing strategy, that doesn't work, and staff is not going to tell people. So anyway, we do have control of our analog world, and we can tap into the digital world through our analog world using our devices. Okay, a platform. So Facebook is a platform, Instagram, Twitter, all that. So why don't you have your own platform? In our own platform, we can do that. We can have our own platform in our own space, and manage it, manipulate it, do anything we want with it. We can still show the old 50-year-old TV shows. We don't have to get away from that. But as we're showing that, we can interrupt that and have our own platform and do our own thing. So that would help. I think that would help the eyeballs. Don't you agree? Here we are, people. Same picture, walking through a restaurant again, and it's just the empty old tables, and we're just anxious to try to fill the tables, and we want the full tables on the right-hand side. That's what we're looking for. That's what we'd like. So let's talk about some new strategies. Okay, we understand that what we have as an existing strategy doesn't necessarily work the way we would like it to be as far as conversion rates. We want to sell stuff. We don't want to just be content creators and jump around and TikTok and dance. We don't want to dance in front of videos all the time. We want customers. We want conversion rates. And we understand that currently we're at about a 5% conversion rate. But we do also still understand that we need to be in the digital world. We can't avoid that. So let's talk about that. This is the old days, back in my days, which can go way back, but not too far back as well. I had a zero budget, a zero marketing budget. I never, ever used money to market my customers. I always built it from the inside out, people. That's how you build business, from the inside, your four walls out. That's the best way, the most powerful way, and the most lasting way is to build from the inside out. One customer at a time. You get one, and you ask him, hey, can you bring your buddy? And he gets two, and then you do that, and so on. So here we are. We've already talked about this, the non-geographical approach, and our existing strategy, and how ineffective but important. Imagine that. It's ineffective but important. Just saying that kind of drives me a little nuts. It's important but ineffective, but we need to do it. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of thought. So here we go. That's the circle that we're going to talk about, and that's the circle. That's the most important circle, people. There is no other business. There's no more business outside that circle. Anything that comes into your circle is all bonus business, which is fine. It's good to get bonus. You get tourists, you get other things from the outside. That's fine. But even when you're sending out social media, all that kind of stuff, if they're not hitting that inner circle, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They can say, oh, hey, I love your ads. Oh, that was the greatest video ever. I live in California. I'm like, okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I did put a lot of work into it, but you live in California and you're not going to come here and convert into a sale. So people, again, we need to focus on that circle. A geographical business. We are a geographical business. They are starting to fall apart, with all the brick and mortars, but that's it. So our customers, let's focus on that circle. This is what it looks like, I'm like, this is it, conversions are what matters, so you send it out, you get look at all the likes I got. Look at that, man. I'm a hero. But look at that little circle. Only 2 people. I got 1.5 people over there, liked my thing. But I got all these likes, all these videos. I talk to people all the time. I'm like, sometimes, not all the time, because there's very few, but some do a fabulous job, and they really do a great job at video and all that, and say, look at all the views and stuff. And again, that's great for branding. It's necessary. It's wonderful. It makes you even feel good. But at the end of the day, if they're not in that geographical circle, they're not going to convert into a sale. So let's talk about that geographical circle. And these are other statistics that are, fascinating. In that geographical circle where you have 95% of your business, 20% of the customers produce 80% of your sales. Imagine that. So 20% of the customers that come in there produce 80% of your sales. So we call those regulars. We see them all the time. Regulars come rolling in, and there's sometimers. I've been sometimers for, and people know that you're a sometimer to other places. You go sometimes. I go sometimes. And then so the 80%, the other 80% only produce 20% of your revenue. So that's an interesting statistic. So essentially the sometimers, we want to make more timers. That would make sense, right? We want to maintain and retain the actual regulars. And then the sometimers, if we can make the sometimers, they're still in the circle, we want to make them more timers. Because because people, there are no other customers. They're in that circle. That's your clientele. You want to maintain, you want to retain, you want to build on the sometimers, making them more timers, and so on. And how do you do that? Do you do that with your existing strategy by doing non-geographical approach? No. Okay, so where are my customers? That was a question I asked a while ago. Where are my customers and how do we get in front of them? Well, here they are. They're right here in front of us. They're sitting in our restaurant. They're just sitting around, looking around, and up in the right-hand side, on this TV screens right there. All we got going on there is just, talking heads. They're doing nothing for us. They're just bright light fixtures. Currently, they're just bright light fixtures, as you can see in this picture. They're not doing anything. Nobody's like looking at the TV. It's just glaring at us. So here are your customers. They're right here. And that's how you get their eyeballs. We talked about it. This is how you get their eyeballs. Very important device. Again, it's a device. It's not a TV. The old days it was a TV. It was a giant, big, boxy thing that all we could get is a couple of channels. But now it's a device, and it's a very powerful device. And people, we know that they're looking at screens. So wake up, people. Okay, this is what it looks like when actually people are paying attention to you. Now that I have your eyeballs, so now that they got our eyeballs, they're looking right at us. And we've all approached a table like this before, well, not necessarily AI generated, table, but you know what I'm saying. That's actually a pretty good generation, but I mean, it is obviously AI. But anyway, you approach the table and I'm like, hi guys, here we are. And this is what we got going on. How are you doing? Can I help you? And now you're not looking at your phones. I got your undivided attention and I can entertain you. You can enjoy what we have to offer here. And I'm feeling pretty strong that you might come back after this experience. Let's see. Hey, did you know that we have digits for dinner? Yes, that's right. It's the digits for dinner. It's a promotion that we run, and we do it at 5 o'clock on Thursday nights. Did you know we had that? No. Are you excited about it? Yeah, you are. Okay, and hopefully you'll come back for it. But now, because we have a device and we're using this device, we can take that device and communicate with our customers. And this isn't the only way, people. I'm not saying like, hey, if you put the stuff on the TVs, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. You still have to do all the stuff. Unfortunately, you still got to be in the digital world, the digital presence, but you might be able to pull back on that. And you'll also, by pulling back on that, artificial intelligence is going to help you take over that. Eventually, within the next year or so, artificial intelligence will be handling a lot of your digital landscape. But still, you got to make sure you have good food, you got good product, you got good servers that go up to the tables, and then just they win all the time. You got to give it extraordinary. You got to put extra in front of ordinary. That's the only way you do really good business. To be extraordinary, you got to put the extra in. This is just another tool, another device. Right now, it's a bright light fixture. You want this bright light fixture to actually work for you and give you a great return on investment. And I'll show you how you can get 500 to 1,000 plus return on investment. So here's the opportunity. So now you have an opportunity, like we're saying, to brand, inform, and entertain your customers, using this device. Lobs, you can do all kinds of stuff on that. It's your platform. Here we go. We got sometimes sitting around, and over to the left, we've got, a strategic, we got, that drink. And then we go to the right screen on the top right, you got wasted. And you get a bunch of sometimers, some regulars sitting in there. But when you scan a crowd, you have no idea you might see some regulars, but essentially, if you see one regular, everybody else might be a sometimer. You want their eyeballs, you want to get them, you want to retain them, you want to get them come back. Once you get them over that threshold, that's the hardest part in this restaurant industry, is to get them over the threshold. Once they're over that threshold, you want to keep them. You want to do everything you can. If you can change them, change them to the table, that's okay too. I'm not sure if the laws will be okay with that, but that's a technique, if you want to use that technique. So now, as we see on the right-hand screen at the top right-hand, you see that TV that's just wasted. And then the one on the left-hand side, you see a drink or whatever the case might be. And it might just be a flash of a drink, but I call it the sizzling fajita. Anytime you see a dessert walking through the dining room, sometimes that's all people need, say, oh, that looks good. I want that. So now you want to turn them all into more timers. So if you take advantage of your screens or your devices, we're talking about them, and then you use it as your platform, you can now strategically use those devices, become more timers. That's your platform. God's sakes, I'm like, use these things, man. We're not in the old days anymore. Yes, hey, we got some happy customers. We've turned you guys all into more timers. And then from more timers, you become regulars, and then we just got a booming business, and we're ready to open more. That's right. Increase your profits, people. So what's the return on investment? Everybody's like, oh, well, that all sounds well and good, but, how much money am I going to make? I'm like, how much does it cost? All that kind of stuff. And I get it. Times are tough, not a question. Everything is going up. But I believe that this is going to come out of a lot of different things. It would come out of a marketing budget. It would come out of an entertainment budget. It would really cost you zero. And then you're going to see in here how it's actually people, you can make money from it and people will pay. But it's ideally, you want customers to come in. You want them to come in. You want them to stay. You want to keep them around. You want to come and have them come more often. So the return on investment is substantial. So this is your existing. This is a chart of your existing approach, and it's you get it's about $100 for a very minimal one-time actual view. So here's a message. Here it is, $100. They see it, and very few people know about it afterwards, and it's gone. And I guess we can go back to that. And, how do we calculated this? We calculate it by food costs and prep time and doing all the things and sometimes paying for social media ads and so on. So that's sort of where those costs came in. And then there's the Hail Mary. So, if you're paying for ads, you probably get a 20% return on investment, which can be good, but, it's not, you're not going in the hole. But typically, everybody thinks, social media is free. It's free to do all this stuff. But when you're prepping items just to take pictures of it, that's not free. It takes time to make all that stuff. It's not free to think, even if you're thinking about like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, what's my strategy? All that stuff takes a lot of, brain power, and that's time. So, with your new strategy, you can see over here. Let me get a little ball on this thing. So you can see over here how you're actually reaching 100% of your customers. So the customers are in your seat. You're showing it to 100%. They're in your customers, and that's a guaranteed customer because they're actually in your restaurant. Everybody else is not a guaranteed customer. They're just people. So, and then you get maybe a 70% engagement, people actually seeing it, and usually can convert, depending on what kind of content you have and what's going on, convert to 14%, which is 320 percent return on investment. So that's substantial. With and it's, in this right here, it's twice the much. It costs twice as much to do it, but you get a 320% return on investment. And then you can do the gamified, which I like. I'm a big fan of gamifying it. So you go still, the customers that are in your seat, that are in your restaurant, you get to 100% of them. And you can get with the gamification of it, you can gain pretty much 100% engagement. And with that, you can get a better conversion of 42%, which is 1,000% return on investment. And this is just creative stuff, being creative. And I know that you guys would think, like, oh, I don't know what to do. But that's where we come in. I can help you with all that kind of stuff. The creative portion of it, the promotional portion of it, all the content creation and so on. We can help you with that. That's what we do. Anyway, here we are again. So you got two strategies side by side. You got the scrolling past, the red door, which is your existing strategy, and the analog door, which is your gamified digital strategy. And just notice in this, on the scrolling side, you got 3 seconds of retention. So this is like, how long do they actually remember it? And then the thing about the scrolling is they scroll to you. I'm like, oh, that was good. And then they scroll to another restaurant. Oh, that was good. Another restaurant. Oh, so you have competition. When they're in your restaurant and you're actually giving them this kind of content, these visuals, this information and messages, there's nothing else interrupting it. That's it. They only got that message. It's going to hold in their brain for a period of time. They're going to look at it for longer because they can't skip out of it. They can't get away from it. It's in their face for however long you want it to be in their face. And so they retain it for a long period of time. When they leave the restaurant, they actually remember what they just said. So the value is it's immense, the value. I mean, it's so funny when I go to restaurants, I try to explain them. They're like, huh? They're just stuck in the old, this is a TV, and all I can do is play CNN and NBC and Fox on that. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else, Colin. They don't get it. Okay, so that's it's a 500 plus return on investment right there. And this is another way. This is a beautiful way, and I always love negotiations with vendors. So you can get the leverage of vendors. You get vendors to help you put content on those screens. They'd love to be on that screen. And you can go up to any vendor and say, hey, listen, hey Joe, I got Absolute wants to be on my screen. I know you carry Grey Goose. What do you want to do? I mean, should I go with Absolute? I think they're going to do it. Or I can use you on, I'd love to have Grey Goose up here. I'm like, oh, Grey Goose, man. Like we want to be up there. Don't put Absolute on the screen. I don't want anything to do with that. So you have some leverage here using this device. It's just very powerful using this device for all kinds of things. But vendors are all for them. And then just doing vendor promotions, it's not just like throwing up a product. We can do all kinds of innovative, creative, promotional stuff where there's contests and reciprocal customers coming back and so on. Excuse me. That's right. So community is also a wonderful thing. Excuse me. Building community is huge, and so you can have community relations. You can put up, the gas station down the street, or a mom and pop, or a gym that's around the thing. You can do that for free, which I suggest you do. But also, you can cross promotion with them. So, say you're going to bring a gym involved, and say, hey, listen, I want to promote your gym in my restaurant. I want to, we'll do some creative thing that comes up on the screen. But in the other side, maybe we can have something in your gym that also talks about us, so we can do some cross promotions and stuff. It's very valuable. And like I said, we're talking about that circle. We're talking about the geographical circle. We want to stay within that 5-10 mile radius. That's where the business is. That's where the people are. That's where your community is. You build that, build it, maintain it, and do nothing. Make sure you hold that for the rest of your life. So, what is the return on investment is 1,000 plus. So when I say 1,000 plus, that means the liquor vendors are they're paying for the production of the promotional thing and so on, and that's where you can make substantial return on investment because other people want to jump on board and help pay with the cost. So we're at this tile, which is, tile. I keep calling them tiles. They're slides. I mean, I'm going to call them tiles. Don't be pissed off at me. If you're still around, I hope you stuck around here because I got more to go. But it's getting exciting. So, what is a COI? I mean, not a lot of people know what a COI is, but a COI is the cost of inaction, and this is typically the cost of inaction. So before you got an empty seats, and then over here to the right, you're doing the exact same thing. And you still got empty seats. That's right. In the restaurant business, you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. You do not maintain ever. You move forward or backwards and do not maintain. I hope you let that sink in if you don't have anything sink in. That's it. You got to stay on top. There's too much competition. There's too much innovation. There's too much things going on, and people are really working hard to try to try to do the right thing all the time. So you want to move forward. Don't be a COI. Do a return on investment. You got to think about this kind of stuff. Or don't invest. Just close your business. There's a lot of people just will do that as well. So it's time for change, people. The world has changed rapidly. It's changing. It's changing so rapidly. It's not going to look the same it does now in 5 years. It will not be the same. Now, when I talk about my the first video or the first part of the seminar, we talk about AI and robots. I mean, these are things. Within the next 5 years, you're going to be like, hey, I'm robot friendly. You can park your robot over here. We have robot charging stations. It's crazy for me to even think about that and talk about that, but that's real. You want to take back control, so we know in the digital world, you have no control. You do all the things, you send it out into the digital world, and you hope people see. That's what you're saying. Listen to that word. You hope people see. So you're hoping people are going to go in. Because in the digital world, the algorithms might change, the AIs might change, this might change, that might not change, so on. You have no control. You need to take control of those eyeballs that are in your geographical circle. New York is doing it. New York is taking control of their eyeballs and their geographical circle. Here's an example. So in New York, this is Times Square. And look at all these devices. So they're devices. They're not TVs. They're devices. And they're showing, hey, look at this product. Look at this product. And look at this product, So they're doing all that kind of stuff. But then also you've got, their branding, So look at all this stuff. So they're doing a thing. I think it's midnight or 10 o'clock. I'm not sure what time it is. And then they show art, So they change all these things, these devices, into this kind of show. It's an art show. Guess what, people? You have those devices in your space too. You can do this too. Here's another one. Look at that. That's beautiful. A lot of artwork, people, they're entertaining these eyeballs. And now, if you can see, I don't know if you can see all the crowd down there with the little things here, but it's packed. It's just all people. They're standing around. They're excited about this, what's going on here. So they're taking control of their screens. They're taking control of these devices, and they're making a difference. Just, that's it. You have the same devices. And this one, this is, again, something that we provide as far as our ads goes, which is artificial digital strategy, they have a portal. So this lady right here is sitting there looking at New York. I'm looking at Ireland, and Ireland is looking at New York. So this is live. So they can do live screen time. And with your devices as well, with your screens and your TVs, you can do live. You can have live entertainment that comes up on your screen. You can have somebody from Ireland playing into your restaurant. You can have somebody from New York or somebody down the street doing a live program. They'll see you, you see them, and so on, right there on your devices, right on your TVs. No, we gotta just wake up, really, people. We gotta catch up. We can't just sit there and do the same old stuff. I am so sick of karaoke, bingo, trivia, all that stuff. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. I don't even know if it brings in people. I have the return on investment. I don't know, but I know if everybody's doing the same old thing, it's just why am I going now? I'll go over there tomorrow or Tuesday night. They have karaoke, and it's typically really smart people coming in there and and getting those gift cards. So why extraordinary concepts? Well, I've been doing this all my life. I am an expert in AI, which is applying innovation. That's all I do. I'm addicted. There's an addiction that I absolutely have, and I've had it all my life, and that's putting asses in seats. That's all I do. And I like to strategize. We strategize, we don't advertise. So they call it strategize, not advertise. I fill seats. That's all I do. That's all I want to do. That's all I think about. I can't think about it any other way. I mean, this actual concept that I'm showing you and talking about you is because I want to put more asses in the seats. I want to make restaurants busy. And it's not just by putting it on a screen. Screens don't do it, but there's so much to making a restaurant busy. All details. I call them selfless details. We've got to pay attention to the selfless details, people. That's it. You want a full restaurant, you got to do that kind of shit. I have passion, as you can tell from this microphone. I kind of sometimes scream at it or whatever the case is. But I have passion, experience, and success. I have success, absolute success. Brand. You got to brand your restaurant. You got to brand your restaurant in your restaurant. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it's four-wall branding, and every single thing, like from the papers in the basket to the napkin wraps to the glassware to all that kind of stuff. You're constantly branding people to your digital device, which is actually your TVs. You want to brand. You're in the walls. You want to just have this image in their face all the time, and so that when they leave, they're just like they know what it is. That's what Nike does and McDonald's does. You want to inform your customers. So you want to inform them while they're there, while you have them over that threshold. Don't let them go. You want to give them information so they come back. You want to kind of, sometimes I do teasers, not sometimes I do it a lot, where they've earned something today. And when they get, if they come back tomorrow, they get to cash it in, whether it's a gift card or whatever the case is. But loyalty programs can do that and so on. But even loyalty, there's so many loyalty cards. I'm not knocking them. They're great. They have its purpose, but that's just another thing. We've got to continue to add things to our toolkit. So informing customers is very important. Before they leave, they should know what's going on. Entertaining customers, absolutely. So entertaining can be all kinds of stuff. It can be entertaining through food, through drink, through service, through live entertainment. But it also can be through your devices, doing trivia on the devices and selling them that way. So entertainment is important, and with your device or with other things, there's a lot of different ways of entertaining customers and retaining your customers. That's after all these things, that's the number one thing. Your retention rate. You want to increase your retention rate. So if they get over that threshold, you want them to come back. You want to retain your customers. You do not want to lose them. You'll lose a some, but if you want to build more and then retain more. I call it infotainment. That's right. That's being creative. It's infotainment, where you can inform and entertain at the same time. People will retain stuff a lot better if they're entertained. While it's sort of, you'll see as we go through some samples on how to entertain these customers, infotain them. And let me show you. So, here we are. Typically, I'm going to take a break. You guys can pause, but we're going to get into I'm going to show you some examples of what you can put on your devices as screens. And first of all, we want to strategize, So a lot of people just say, what do we do to bring business in? So, well, I'm down on Wednesdays. I'm going to do karaoke. Or my Fridays, I need to be, need Fridays busier. Or sometimes they just say, I just wanted to be busier this week. They're not segmenting it. But you want to strategize. You want to segment. You want to look at actual hours of the day and sort of see how, I got to get them come in earlier on Friday. And so we want to strategize content in those segments as well, and we'll show you some of that. And then we want to schedule, this created, strategized content. So this will be an example, So if we're going to have something, maybe at 3:00, we're going to, I wanted to just send out some merch stuff on the screens. So they're going to maybe purchase merchandise, or we're going to do the Crush It promotion at 2:00. I feel that's going to go. Maybe I'll get people to stick around a little longer at 1. Or we're going to always do the deal for a meal, and deal for a meal will be at 5:00 every Friday, all the time, consistently. And then, we're gonna do a live show. We're gonna do a live DJ show, which is something we can do on the device. And with that live DJ show, we want to do some teasers prior to that. So we're gonna throw out a couple teasers, 6 or 7. And this is all automated. So once it's in the system, it will automatically come up on its own. And excuse me. And then we're gonna do the live show, which it looks like when 9 o'clock, it starts to drop down around 6, 7, 8, 9. So we want to build those hours up. Show me the money. Okay. We want to brand, inform, entertain, and retain. Show them money. Like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you going to do that? So, an increase of dwell time by 30 minutes equals 15 to 25% increase in sales. So, if you get them to stick around for 30 more minutes, for whatever the case it is, maybe you say, hey, do you want to drop your check? It took me 30 minutes to give them. that would stick them around, but they'd be really pissed and they'd never come back. I'm just kidding with that one. But if you want to get them entertained and keep them around for another 30 minutes or so, or even 15 minutes, it's going to increase your revenue by substantial. And we call this quiz and tell. So this is like an infotainment thing where we can quiz and tell. This program's called that. And this is a branding. So this would be a branding of the lobster trap, which I'm a big fan of that. You guys, if you're listening to this and you're around Bourne, Massachusetts, I highly suggest you go to the lobster trap. But this is sort of their colors and their branding. And it's, trap trivia, quiz and tell. Let's play. So what band is playing this Saturday? So that's an example. So here we are, branding. Branding is their colors. So that's sticking with me. I'm entertained because it feels like trivia. And I'm also informed, because right now I've been sort of tricked into, I'm like, okay, so what band is playing this Saturday? And I know it's not U2. Third Left is a possibility. Led Zeppelin and Grateful Dead, I'm not feeling. So I'm going to say Third Left. And then there it is, Third Left. Okay, so now I was entertained, and now I know this Saturday Third Left's playing. Now, I don't have a staff calling me and telling me. I just had the TV just tell me that Third Left is playing this Saturday. We did it, strategically and creatively, and the customers aren't mad that that's the answer. They don't even care when they hear a question in trivia. They just ask you a question. If you know the answer, you do. They don't care what the questions are. They're just going to look at the screen automatically. So that's the beauty of a trivia is they're going to read it. They just that this. So here it is again. So what did Dave name is C10. Again, we're branding. And now Dave, I don't know. So right now, I know that Dave, I don't know who Dave is, or maybe I know Dave's the owner. He has a Chevy C10. So I like cars and trucks, and now I have a relation with Dave. Now I know he does and I do, and I don't know what it is. I'm going to say Ketchup. That's the name of his truck. It's Cooked. That's a beautiful C10, and his truck's name Cooked. So now in my little geographical circle, which is the people I'm paying attention to, now I have a little attachment to Dave because I love trucks too. I know the owner has a C10 and it's Chevy. So now I'm starting to feel like I'm part of this space, part of the community. So it's not, these are strategic. We strategize, not advertise. Okay, what's the only cost a buck on Thursdays? Oh, here's another question. What cost a buck on Thursday? I don't know. I've never been here on Thursday, but I'm going to say chowder. But no, chowder, lobster, oysters, or nachos. Well, I mean, the answer is definitely going to be, I don't know if it's maybe it's chowder. Oysters. Okay, so another strategize, don't advertise, is oysters. So now I know, I'm informed that I have oysters for a buck on Thursday. So now I have that information. But if I'm not even paying attention to this thing, excuse me, if I'm not even paying attention to the screens, I'm not doing anything, I'm not even involved there, I'm going to see a picture that's going to come up on the screen of oysters. And just subliminally in my brain, I'm going to say, okay, well, oysters. I'm like, I love oysters. Let's get some oysters. It's like that sizzling fajita walking by. I'm like, wow, that's a sizzling fajita. I will take a sizzling fajita, please. So here it's strategized, not advertised. And then this is a doozy. Again, this is sort of my creative brain working, and these are the examples of how you can maintain customers and get them to stick around. So this coin will be explained later. So here we are, we're branding. We see a gold coin, and I'll have to explain it later. Okay, what gets me excited for February? I don't know. What gets me excited for February? Shoveling snow, no frigid cold, Key West party, or preparing my taxes. I'm going to go, I would think, Key West party. Yeah, Key West party, people. That seems like a good time. Yes. Okay, you just tricked me. You advertised the Key West party, and I'm thinking I'm playing trivia. Okay, what band is playing Key West Party? Oh, you're tricking me again. This Key West Party thing. So, well, I know there's a Key West Party that's happening. And Delancey Duo, I don't know about that. Audios Collins, maybe. Jenny Jam Session, I don't know. And Kyle got crabs. I'd love to say Kyle got crabs with the band, but I'm thinking it's, yeah, Kyle got crabs. Oh, the Collins band. So now I know we have a I just rushed to that one. Key West Party, and they're playing. I love that band, so I'm definitely going to come back for the Key West Party. And this is other things. So these are all little pieces. This is all part of the strategizing and try using your device to be creative. So this is I call these spontaneous rewards. This would just pop up on the screen for no apparent reason and then just goes away. And it's like the secret password for free chowder is bluefish, new fish. Okay, that's it. So now, and somebody might have read it, and somebody might have saw it, and then it just goes away. But you might get your waitress to say, "Hey, bluefish, new fish," and you get a chowder. So say you got 20 chowders that went through that restaurant that day. You're like, okay, people are really paying attention to the screen. You can always bring it back. You can always increase it, how often it sees, and so on. So again, people, we want to take back control. We are a geographical business, and our circle is only a 5 to 10 mile radius. That's our customers. That's all our customers. That's only our customers. We need to take control of their eyeballs. Show me the money. Let's brand, inform, entertain, retain. You know, highlight the most profitable items. So this is, the items. So this is something we always have to do. Say we have a quesadilla and we want to highlight the quesadillas, put more money in the profitable items. So we can always push and market those things, name this item. So this is branding. We're branding. We have a game. We're being entertained. It's infotainment. What is this? I don't know. What is that? Looks like a scallops, maybe? Oh, let's go scallops. But striped bass, tuna tartare, salmon. Anybody that's watching? All four of you that are watching, you got this? Ah, it's striped bass. Okay, that's great. Striped bass. You know what? What? I love striped bass. I'm definitely going to order that. Name this item. What's that? Ooh, look at that drink. I don't know what that is. Look at fruit mimosa, peach bellini, fruity pebbles, orange cake. I don't know. Orange cake? Looks like an orange cake, maybe. I don't know. Oh, peach bellini. Oh, looks good. Yeah, excuse me, ma'am. I'll take a peach bellini, please. I love that drink. Okay, there's a coin again. It says the on it, a gold coin. And now we are branding, and we know that we have a gold coin. We're not exactly sure why we have a gold coin, but okay, name this item. What item here? Ooh, I don't know. Fish taco. Fish tacos. Yeah, we got it. Fish tacos. Again, branding, and we're actually just giving you a tour of the menu. So now you're getting a tour of the menu and you didn't even know it. So you're tricking me again with all this kind of stuff. Now, just because I'm just seeing this and just because of putting it on the screen doesn't mean people are going to actually get it right away. This is something over repetition and things that are going on. Once people start to feel the rewards and feel what's going on, then they're going to be much more apt to actually looking at the TV and doing this. Okay, the power of unexpected. That's always important. Oh, there we go. That's unexpected. We got a stand, another gold coin with stand. It's just sitting on the screen. It just pops up. So what this happens, if you left this on the screen for a period of time, customers are going to say, hey, why is that gold coin up there just sitting up there? They're going to ask questions. I could leave this, if I left this on there for an hour, I guarantee you the customer's going to go, can you change the screen, please? I just see this gold coin. Now it's in their head. They don't know why the gold coin is there, but we're on to them. Okay, so if you want, say you want to grab information from the reservation, somebody booked a party for their birthday on Saturday and it's Tuesday, you can actually go and say, okay, let's go look this kid up, see who it is. And then you can make a really quick something or other. Steve comes in at 6, 7 o'clock and say, hey, happy birthday, Steve. Love it, and it's almost like the Jumbotron. So he comes in, he's just eating dinner and stuff, and boop, hey, it's his birthday. He feels all good and warm and fuzzy, and you've got a customer for life. Show me the money. Let's brand, inform, entertain, retain. Okay, affordable entertainment options. So this is another thing that's affordable entertainment options, and this is something that's going to be growing quite rapidly because of AI and all the fake stuff that's going out here. So this is for advanced, businesses. So you have to have an advanced sound system, AV system, which is TVs and audio, video with amps and a good system. So if you have advanced, doesn't matter. Our product in there doesn't, whether you're advanced or not advanced, it will do stuff. But in order to do the advanced stuff, you have to have an advanced AV system. And this would be an example. So live performances. So you can have a live performer coming out of California and they're going to perform on your TVs. You'll see them. They'll see you. They'll talk to you. They'll do all kinds of stuff. And it'll be entertaining. Now, the thing about it, say you have 3 locations, you can have this band play to all 3 locations. So that would reduce the cost substantially. And if they have other locations and they're booking out into other locations, they can play at however many locations at the same time, so you can also, reduce the cost of entertainment. It's not as exciting as somebody being in your space, but people are used to it. Everybody's talking on, Zoom and Facebook and all that. Like I said, times have changed. People have changed in the way we see things, view things, and hear things have all changed. We can also do DJs. There's spectacular DJs out there, and they can even do a DJ gig for you for 3 hours taped, but looking like it's live into your space. And then they can play, it can play, and these DJs are way better than any DJ I could ever get in my location. When they got, almost 1 million followers, they're doing something right. And there's not a DJ. It's like, oh, well, what about requests? There's not a DJ in the world that's worth their salt that takes requests. They play the music and and you guys just enjoy it. Have you figured out the gold coin yet? Let me just take the sip of this. That's right, the gold coin. What is that thing? Okay, take back control. We've talked about this again. You guys we're in the we haven't moved. We're still a geographical business and we still have those customers around us. So we need to take control of their eyeballs. Show me the money. Brand, inform, entertain, retain. This is digital asset value. So this is the value of your digital assets. Now, when you post them on social media, you lose them. You do. They post them up. That was a great picture of my burger, and now it sinks. So we want to repurpose all your social media stuff. So you want to take that social media stuff and throw that. I call it the social media sea. If you put something on social media, and then it just continues to drop down and down, deeper and deeper into the seas of social media, and then you're going to redo new content, constantly adding new content. You're not recycling what you have. So you can take the old stuff that you have and repurpose it onto your own screens, your devices. His is just repurposing an Instagram post, throwing that up. So anything you post on social media, you can post on on your own devices in your own space, your own platform. Excuse me. Show me the money. Brand, inform, entertain, retain. We're almost done, guys. Anticipation. There it is. More anticipation. Like, what is this gold coin? There's a gold coin again. Customers are like, okay, I got it. We have gold coins. This one says is. Okay, this program we call is the treasure hunt. This would be great for customers excited to look, this would make customers excited to look at the TVs periodically. The way this works, so trap treasure hunt, win $1,000 gift card. So they win $1,000 gift card, and how do you do that? You keep your eyes out for a gold coin clues we call them. Write them down and solve the puzzle. If you can figure the gold coin out, you win. So essentially, if you see a gold coin, it says the, you take that and you just write down the, And anytime you ever see another gold coin, it says like whatever, stand, you write stand down. And this isn't something that's done nightly. This is something that's done over a month period. People are just like, oh, I saw another gold coin as a thing. And then eventually you'll have all these words and you're trying to figure out where the actual gold coin is. Now, if I talk to the owner and said, okay, Dave, let's hide the gold coin. I'm going to put it in I'm going to stick it under this table out in the patio. That's where it's going to be. So the clues, once you get all these clues together, you can put them together and figure out where the map is. And then once you do it, you get that coin. You win $1,000 gift card. So it's a substantial. People would do it. It's something that would take a little while. But once you get that gold coin, once somebody wins that $1,000 gift card, then they're always going to be looking at the screen, always wondering the gold coin. So the first time, second time, after the second or third time, people really know what it's all about, and they'll always be looking up and seeing when you see a gold coin, they're going to be asking what it. So, and then you're going to take a picture, a big check. The guy won $1,000 gift card, and other things you can do with this, which is very powerful as well. Is it says, hey, dude, dude, hey, buddy. Now we have an option. You can give you $1,000 gift card, actually, or 100, whatever. And I suggest that I'm going to throw you a party for $1,000. I'm going to give you $1,000 worth of food. I'm going to set up a special space for you, and you're going to bring all your friends, and you can just have a jammed out party with $1,000 of a nice buffet set up for you. And he might go for it, and then he's bringing in new customers over that threshold. They're going to be drinking and doing all that kind of stuff. So I would recommend, kind of negotiating ways to, give him that $1,000 gift card, but still obviously want to honor that. This program is custom branded art. So if you just have a restaurant and it's just doing nothing, I don't want anything on the screen. We can just put art, you can custom brand anything you want these days with artificial intelligence and just put it on the screen. It could be a beautiful piece of art. This one right here is just talking about Thursdays, dollar oysters and whatever. You can just sit there. It doesn't have to do anything. These devices are your platform. You can do anything you want on your platform. It's your own TV channel. This program's called, and we're almost done. So thank you very much for sticking around. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of some of the powers of the devices that are in your own restaurant. Where in the restaurant? So this would be just giving you a tour. So customers come in and they sit in your restaurant. They sit at a booth. They talk to each other. They eat. They get up. They go. Nobody's giving them information. They know nothing about your restaurant. They don't have any promotions because nobody's talking about it. It's not on your TVs. But if you were to say, hey, let me give you a tour of my restaurant. Did you know I have this over here for a dining area? Did you know I have this over here? All these suggestions. This is just giving you a tour of the restaurant. So it's called Where in the Restaurant. You'd see that picture and it says, Where in the Restaurant? I'm like, man, what is that thing? I have no idea. And then you say, oh, look at that. It's a patio tree table. I love that. That looks cool. So now, again, strategic, strategize, not advertise. Now you're going to say, hey, man, okay, I see that. I'd like to come back someday and sit at that table. Now you've given me a tour and you show me that table. Like, what is this thing? I have no idea what this thing is. Oh man, it's a wooden fish. So now you're being entertained. You're being informed. You're being branded. You're doing all these things through your TVs for the customers. Where in the restaurant? Where is that thing? I don't know where it is. Oh, okay. I see that. I know what that logo is. I love that logo or whatever. So it's up to you. We can create all kinds of programs to do anything, to drive customers where you need them to be driven. Hey, host. I don't know where that is, but I hope you guys are writing down these coin names so I can give you a prize at the end. I'll give you $1,000 gift card to Extraordinary Concepts. That's right. Take back control. We've already done that. We've talked about this all the time. We're still we're still a geographical business. We're not moving anywhere. The only time we're moving anywhere is when we go out of business. Brand, inform, entertain, and retain. Okay, get your customers to come back in one more. Get them to come back one more time. It can increase your sales by 100,000 plus. So just get them to come back one more time. That's it. Just one more. Hey, can you come back one more time? Thank you. All right, we're going to do digits for dinner. This is a good one. I like this one a lot. So this would get them to come back one more time. And this program, like I said, it's called Digits for Dinner. Digits for Dinner. So here we are, branding, lottery. Everybody likes lottery. People play Keno all the time. So let's figure this one out. Let's get these people playing. So if they have a driver's license, everybody has a driver's license. You get them to pull out their driver's license, and everybody has a driver's license number like this right here. The winning number is your driver's license number. Okay, take out your driver's license and match the numbers we pick, and you win a lobster. Okay, I got my driver's license here in my hand. I see my driver's license numbers. I'm ready. I feel that. Are you ready? Yeah, I just said I'm ready. I'm pretty ready. Here's my driver's license. I see my driver's license number. I am ready. Winning numbers. Okay, let's go. Everybody that's listening, I hope you got your driver's license out and you're looking at your numbers. I'm going to hold for a second to make sure you do that. I love coffee. Okay, here we go. 5. Anybody, you guys got 5? 5 on your numbers? 7. Any 7s? 9. Do I hear a 9? 3. Any 3s? Oh, man, I lost. I didn't get anything, but all right, but the winner. So winner, you get a lobster dinner. So you bring your driver's license up to whatever, the server. They know the number, and there you go. You won a lobster. Congratulations. We play at 5 p.m. every Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to come back at least next Thursday. That's one more time. I would love to win that lobster. I didn't win, or I'd love to win something, So that's, getting customers to come back. That's a real quick thing. And you can adjust whether it's a lobster, a cup of chowder, or $1 million. You can adjust anything any way you want. It's your platform. Okay, you find the coin yet? No, I have not found that coin. Sorry, so I don't win the $1,000. Under. So there's under. Just a hint. It's under the hostess stand. That's where it is. Okay, show me the money. We're almost done. Brand, inform, entertain, and retain. At any given time, you can fast forward back and forth on all this kind of stuff. You are on YouTube, so I'm not going to hold you prisoners. But I really want you to see some ideas and all the possibilities. And this is just some people. This is just samples of some of the possibilities you can do on your screens. Okay, let's see. You can partner with liquor vendors, like we already talked about that. That's a very powerful and valuable thing. So liquor vendors will throw you money to be on the screens. You can sell ad space if you wanted to. I don't necessarily recommend it. I like to do that community thing where you give your screens to the community people, and then they give information, and you become a community. But if you wanted to sell ads to a whatever, a garage, then you could do that too. But that's not very community. Maybe it's somebody outside of your geographical circle. Maybe that's a possibility. So liquor vendor sponsorships, they'll be throwing, like I said, they'll throw money at you. You can do, you're doing parties, so maybe you're going to do a wine dinner with a wine company or a liquor vendor. I mean, they just jump all over that kind of stuff. They want to be in front of the customers. They need eyeballs just as much as you do. Show me the money, brand, inform, entertain, retain. You can sell your merchandise as you're getting new merchandise and so on. You can sell that kind of stuff too. If you get a new sweatshirts and all that, here you go, looking sharp. Show me merchandise. Okay. Weekly events. This would be like a weekly event. We can create videos and so on that you can put on your stuff. We call this the Brady Brunch. So you'd be showing maybe some videos of Brady stuff going on, and do that 10 to 2. And then last clue for that. That's the last clue for that. Take back your TVs, people. Take control of the eyeballs. You want to make sure you can take control. Show me the money. Brand, inform, entertain, retain. More gambling. We'll do some more gambling. Dwell time. This is called gambling. More dwell time, more money. If they get them to come back one more time, and I think with these, you're going to get them to come back more than that. So this one, we'll do a really quick explanation as I buzz through this. This is going to go off of IDs, also your driver's license or your credit card. It's going to pick 4 numbers out of those. So here's the cards. So we'll pick 4 numbers from either one, and you're going to use that with the cards we give you to play a poker game. So circling that number. This one's a little more complicated. Not necessarily this would be as successful or easy to do, but once customers understand it and they start following it, then they can do it. And once they understand it and start following it, then they can make bets with their own table. Said, hey, okay, let's play this game. Like whoever wins doesn't have to pay at the table, So circling that. So those 4 numbers, 1, 9, 7, 7, would be played with the cards I dealt with you. Or you can use your credit card, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are numbers. Okay, those are my numbers. And now you're going to, you ready to deal for a meal? Sure, I'm ready. So we get a 10, we get a 6, and we get a 9. Okay, so take those, and I got 2 9s and 2 6s. Okay, and then I show that to the people at my table. They don't have a better hand. I don't have to pay. Or, I can show it be the best hand in the restaurant, win a $25 gift card, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of things we can do, and we can sort of tailor it so it's easier for you guys as operators to not have to manage it so hard, and easier for the customers to actually play. Congratulations, you won. And we suggest, because of your winnings, you should get the chicken waffle. But chicken waffle, you must have breakfast or brunch. And we play every Friday at 5 p.m. And then we got free UGC, users generated content. These, again, just ideas. So, again, if you can stick around, I'm hoping you stick around because these are very valuable ideas. Give you ideas on things that you could possibly do. We call this Crushed It. So the game is called Crushed It. And here we are, we're branding it, we're entertaining. Crushed it. Yep, I just said crushed it. And so go to the Lobster Trap Instagram. So they go to Lobster Trap Instagram post, find this post. Okay, I see that post. Okay. And make this comment, crushed it. So you go on that post, you find it, you go on it, you just write crushed it. Okay. And then you show your server. See, I just said crushed it on that post. I'm like, oh, congratulations, and you win a taco. So what's doing right there is just the customers are in there. They see the thing. So now they're interacting. They're having fun. They want a free taco. But going on there and making a comment on that, now the algorithm says, hey, this person likes the Lobster Trap. So I'm going to show them more of the Lobster Trap when they actually, when I post things. So now you're kind of getting them sucked into the algorithm, and they get a free taco, and they can win a taco. And then they can take a picture, this is show me some love, so they can take a picture of their taco, their free winning taco, and post it on social media. So that also would also help the algorithm in the social media. So that's kind of how the two planets come together, being the digital world and the analog world, how they can come together. And there's a lot of other ways and other creative things you can do. But again, main thing is to control the eyeballs that we're trying to do in our geographical area. And then we can pull those two devices together. Okay, people supporting those in the community. That's again, we were talking about the community. You want to build communities, period. That's your, yeah, I mean, it's so important for me to really continue to reiterate that circle, that, the demographics, your geographical circle. Building community, you want to build community no matter what. Building community builds business. Feels good too. Okay, lobster trap shutout. So here we are. We're just shutting out the principal, of the town. So the principal of the town, you don't have to, you can shout out staff, you can shout out people that are in the things, firefighters, all the things. You should pop up, good feel good things on your TVs or your devices. We don't want to call them TVs. That's a bad word. That's an old word. On your devices, you want to throw up these kind of things, and get customers to you show an appreciation. And she did. She did a lot of good things. Again, another lobster trap shutout. And then it's nice to say lobster trap shutout. So it's the lobster trap showing community support for these things. I'm branding. I'm getting customers all warm and fuzzy, and we're shouting out. So we're going to shout out to the neighbor down the street. Hey, go down the street and buy something from these guys. They're great guys, and just going to shout out. Business to business kind of thing. And be cool, people. You want to be cool. So that's them too. They have a nice swag. Okay, so again, we want to take back control. We want to take over the eyeballs here. The big businesses, they have all the eyeballs. They want to have all the eyeballs, and they do everything they can to keep them, and they are keeping them. So it's important for us again to stay in that circle, stay in the our geographical spot, and take our eyeballs. So what's your strategy after hearing all this, thinking about all this? We have to re-strategize. We have to sort of think about what's going on. Artificial intelligence, as the first video I did was about artificial intelligence and what that's going to do to us and how we can actually leverage artificial intelligence, or also AI, which is applying innovation. This is applying innovation, this portion of it. And we have to come up with a strategy. The next 5 years will not be the same. Only 5 years ago, it was COVID. And so the next 5 years, we're in the beginning of this AI revolution, and it will change the world. So again, I'm Colin Wilcox with Extraordinary Concepts. This is ads, AI digital strategies. And if you are here, or you can ask questions if you want. I'd love for you to like, subscribe, anything down there. I know I don't have one of those things popping up on the screen. I'm new at this whole YouTube thing. But if you were here in the room when I do my seminars, I would absolutely answer as many questions as I possibly can. If you want to leave comments down below and ask questions and wonder about my product and my philosophy on this whole digital world, I'd love to talk to you. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out and listening to me. Maybe I'll give my full face and say goodbye to you completely. Hey, here I am. Again, I appreciate you guys. If you stuck through this entire thing, you guys are rebels and you're really serious about changing the way you do business, because we have to change, people. We have to change. The world has changed. It's going to change dramatically. We have to change. And the good news about it all is people want to be with us. People want to be with people. That's what my logo here is, Extraordinary Concepts, bringing people together and being exciting. So I love you all. We all work extremely hard, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Thanks a lot.